and Edward. He asks if he can come home, but she answers not today. Then he says that the owl is in the walls as the screen glitches. He's interrupted by an orderly reminding him to go to bed, and Edward fights him for the phone, causing the call to end. While Grace sleeps, something creepy sneaks into her room and turns down the TV volume. The noise awakens Grace and she screams when she sees a monster hanging above her. She runs away and reaches the street, where she yells for help. Sadly, the monster catches her from behind and pulls her back inside. 2 months later, Sam and his family arrive at a retirement community known as the Burrows. Manager Kaylee shows Sam his new house, which used to belong to Grace. Her husband Edward is in the manor, a special facility for residents with dementia. Every house in the Burrows has an AI device, but Sam hates it and rips it off. In fact, Sam hates the whole place. It turns out his wife chose it, but she died and the company won't let him out of the contract. When Kaylee tries to cheer Sam up, he kicks her out. His daughter Claire yells at him for his attitude and an argument ensues. Claire's husband Neil distracts them by showing them the golf cart in the garage, but Sam isn't interested. After the family leaves, Sam notices that the front doorknob is broken. The next day, Sam is woken up by a loud backfiring car. Then he goes to the community center and tries to talk to the CEO about his contract, but he's out for the day. Suddenly a song plays on the speakers that makes Sam feel dizzy. In the bathroom, Sam is washing his hands when he hears a tapping noise. He goes to investigate and finds Edward tapping on the walls with a knife. Edward asks about Grace and says there's an owl in the walls, insisting that everything is wrong. When Sam tries to calm him down, Edward says he's one of them and slashes him with a knife. Sam disarms him and they start fighting while Edward keeps asking about Grace. Soon some nurses arrive and take Edward away. After a doctor takes care of Sam's wound, he meets security guard Hank, who explains there are no policemen in the Burrows because legally they aren't a town and they don't like to bother the sheriff with small stuff. Sam doesn't think being attacked is small and wants to call the sheriff anyway, but Hank stops him and tells him to talk to the CEO first. Then Sam is taken to the manor, where he meets CEO Blaine. He apologizes and says that he'll cancel the contract if Sam agrees not to call the sheriff. Then he takes him to see Edward, who also apologizes for the incident. It turns out he has Maxwell's disease, which causes the brain to wither and die. Blaine convinces Sam to give the Burrows a chance. On Friday, Sam attends a barbecue that the neighbors throw to welcome him. He feels awkward because his wife was the social one and he's more of an introvert, but he ends up having a good time. Judy tells him that Grace was always fun, yet Edward wasn't very nice. Judy's husband Art complains that society treats old people like children, and Renee says they should start a revolution. As they start chanting Grey Rebellion, Judy chokes on her food, and Sam has a vision of her as Lily passing out again. While the others rush to help Judy, a disturbed Sam leaves the party. Meanwhile, Wally goes to see the doctor and learns that his cancer has spread to his liver. He wants to try some alternative treatments and shares a bunch of research, but the doctor insists that his case has no cure. At the fitness center, Renee learns that a lady is missing half her chess set, which was made of quartz. Moments later, Renee takes the lady and a bunch of other neighbors to see security guard Paz to inform him that they're all missing things made of quartz. Paz says he can only file a report, and since it's all worthless stuff it may get him fired. He promises to do it after Renee agrees to have dinner with him. At the manor, Sam visits Edward and asks him about the owl in the walls. However, Edward keeps rambling about his dead son because he promised they would fly a kite together. Sam folds a napkin into a kite, which snaps Edward out of it. He says he caught an owl once and locked it up, explaining that the key is in the light and the owl is in the walls. Edward repeats this so many times that a nurse drags him away. All this is seen by Blaine. In the meantime, Art leaves the Burrows, claiming he has a golf game with some friends. However, he drives to an old house in an abandoned town to check on the mushrooms he's been growing. While taking care of everything, he talks to a crow he's named Brooksy, revealing that he knows Jack and Judy had an affair. He chose to ignore it because he was afraid that Judy would leave him, but after seeing her grief for Jack's death, Art wonders if she truly loved him. Moments later, Brooksy brings Art a bottle cap and keeps acting disturbed. Suddenly Art hears a terrifying roar and Brooksy starts flying around the room in panic. It crashes a few times and tries to escape through a hole in the roof, only to then drop dead. When Art looks up behind the couch and they both put on goggles. The drop of blood is left in front of the TV on a spoon, which starts shaking. Suddenly the blood glows and floats for a few seconds before exploding, causing a beautiful display of energy in the room. The glow is so bright that Judy notices it too. After it goes out, she rushes to the window and sees Sam and Wally putting the hammer in a bag. A few days later, Judy hasn't left the window and has been writing down every single thing that happens in the neighborhood. Art tells her he'll leave for a few days to camp in the desert, but she barely pays any attention. When she sees Wally on the street, she rushes to meet him and asks him about the box he's carrying, so he claims he's preparing a science class for the community center with Sam's help. Judy points out that he's been spending a lot of time with Sam lately, but Wally leaves without an answer. All this is seen by Hank. At Sam's home, Wally finishes building a machine that may help them identify the mysterious creature. At that moment the bell rings and Sam opens the door to find Neil, who explains that Claire needs an album from Lily's collection. She already made the request on the phone, but Sam forgot about it, so he tells Neil he's still looking for it. Sam quickly tries to kick him out, and now Neil thinks he doesn't like him. He gives him a book on grief and reminds him he needs to be there for his daughter too. When Sam goes back inside, Wally finishes the test and confirms that the blood doesn't belong to any being on Earth. He calls Paz and they agree to meet there. Soon Renee manages to sneak inside the center and hears something breaking, so she investigates the storage room and finds quartz on the floor. As something runs away in the shadows, the lights turn on and Renee screams, but it's just Paz. Then they go to Renee's house and watch the footage, but they see the things falling without anyone pushing them. They spend the night drinking and chatting, and end up getting naughty. They don't see Hank show up in the storage room. He scans the broken things and notices some unusual marks. At that moment he gets a call informing him that a dog walker saw movement inside the funeral home. Soon Sam's group hears the car and makes a plan. When Hank comes in he finds Sam, who says he came to say goodbye to Jack. Hank arrests him while Judy and Wally stay hidden in a coffin. While Sam is taken away, he sees Lily watching him in disappointment. At Renee's house, the monster sneaks in and inserts its hand into Renee's mouth. Meanwhile in the desert, Art hears a noise and follows it to find an old mine with a shaking door. When he reaches for it he cuts his hand, but he still goes inside. At the end of the tunnel, he finds a beautiful tree. Art takes some of its fruit and its glowing dust heals the wound on his hand. Then he bites it. The next morning, Art stops at a gas station. When the clerk talks, it's too loud and he has to take off his hearing aid. He goes to the bathroom and also takes off his glasses. It appears the fruit healed all his aches. Then Art tries to buy some snacks, but suddenly he's pushed by an armed robber. He tries to make him see reason, but the guy ignores him. Art decides to attack him and with just a few moves, he brings the robber down. At the community center, Blaine tells Sam that he isn't arrested. However, he's worried about him, since he's new but has already been in plenty of incidents. He knows that Sam believes something killed Jack and wants him to check himself into the manor to run some tests. Sam refuses, so Blaine tells him he can go, but first he reveals that Edward died the night after Sam's visit. Edward kept talking about seeing monsters, and Blaine says there's only one way that story can end. Afterward Sam reunites with Judy and Wally and tells them about his conversation with Blaine. Judy wants to warn people, but Sam believes that Blaine killed Edward and that his words were a threat. The group agrees they must find the monster in secret and kill it. Wally theorizes that the creature drinks humans' brain fluid, which could cause brain disorders. Sam realizes that Edward's illness was caused by the monster. To create some bait they need that fluid, so Wally inserts a needle into the wounds in Sam's throat to take a sample. To finish the trap, Sam asks Judy to drive him to the city. Meanwhile Art comes back looking younger and full of energy. He plays golf, goes dancing, and swims in the pool. When he finally goes home, Judy isn't around, but he finds Jack's shirt in the closet. To forget about this he goes to the bar to drink and meets Annalise, so he ends up sharing what happened with Judy anyway. Annalise says he should punish her, but Art thinks that's too much. Suddenly Art starts feeling sick in his cup. At that moment Wally sees the monster on top of the closet, so Sam tells him to turn on the TVs. The battery doesn't work and the creature almost attacks. Luckily Judy arrives to shoot it just in time. The monster runs away and the group follows its blood trail to the kitchen, where they discover a hidden tunnel in the oven. After grabbing some flashlights and knives, the group enters the oven and discovers a whole system of tunnels that spreads under the whole neighborhood. In fact, each tunnel has the numbers corresponding to an A, including the old picture of him and Blaine. At the hospital, Annalise visits Art, who needs his hearing aids again. Annalise asks him how he went from young to old and mentions that there are secret wonders in the burrows. She's seen them and can help him with them. Art swears they just drank too much and has nothing to say. After Annalise leaves, Art checks his clothes and confirms the pit is still in his pocket. At home, Renee is visited by Hank, who says he's got a break in the quartz case. Renee tries to send him away, but Hank pushes the door and bursts in. Renee throws some objects at him, which Hank ignores to go after her. He catches her from behind and chokes her until she's out. When Renee wakes up, she's with Paz in the trunk of her car, which is currently moving. When it finally stops, the duo yells for help, but nobody can hear them. They all agree not to go back to the burrows, but Wally needs his medication. Paz volunteers to retrieve it and leaves in Art's truck. At the bottom of the cliff, Annalise finds Hank. In the evening she finally arrives home and Blaine is horrified to see the bullet wound in her chest. He puts her in a tub filled with the gold liquid and when she re-emerges, she's feeling better. Now she wants revenge. At the restaurant, Art and Judy have a talk. Art admits he knows about Jack and says they have to go their separate ways. At that moment a bunch of cars appear and Blaine comes out. Later in the manor, the nurses bring Renee, Sam, Art, and Judy with their heads covered while Blaine negotiates with Wally. Then the group gets their heads uncovered and Blaine lets them talk to Wally in private. Apparently they've been offered a deal. They can go back to their homes and live a normal life in the burrows as long as they stay. Tells Wally that he's been hired to take care of a special patient. If that patient dies, then they all die. Blaine opens a special door and introduces him to Mother. While walking around town, Renee is suddenly grabbed by the shoulder. She defends herself thinking it's a criminal, but it's just Paz. They hide behind a wall and Paz explains they can't be seen together, but he's got a plan to free everyone. The 75th anniversary is this weekend, so security will be stretched thin. Renee promises to tell the others, but Paz warns her that their cars, phones, and homes are bugged, meaning they must only talk outside. He also gives her a radio so they can keep in touch. Meanwhile, Sam uses a device to mess with the ankle monitor's signal before cutting it off. After work, Wally meets with Renee and tells her what he's learned. In 1949, an egg was found deep in the mines, and from that egg hatched a creature they call Mother. Blaine and his people drink Mother's blood to be immortal. Eventually Mother started to have children, so to feed them all Blaine and Annalise founded the Burrows. Mother was locked in the lab and her kids in the tunnels, so they could sneak into the houses and get some fluid to take back to Mother. Wally is frustrated because Blaine and his people are only using Mother's blood for stupid things while he could use it to cure diseases. Renee thinks he's becoming a monster too and mentions Paz's plan, so Wally kicks her out. In the evening, Renee goes to see Judy to return a dish. Judy says this isn't hers, so Renee carefully points behind her to indicate that they're being watched. When Judy takes the dish, she finds a note inside telling her to go to Jack's place at midnight. That night Judy meets with Paz and Renee, who tells her that Wally made a different choice and she couldn't find Sam. Paz wants to plan the escape, but Renee has a new idea. She tells them about Mother and they agree they should kill her. In the desert, Sam makes it to the restaurant and borrows the phone to call Claire. He mentions monsters and a great danger, so he wants her to pick him up. Moments later Claire takes Sam away in her car and he falls asleep during the trip, thinking he's finally safe. However, when he wakes up, he discovers that Claire has brought him to the manor, and the nurses take him away. Afterward Claire and Neil go to Sam's house to take his things. Art sees them and asks what happened, so he learns that Sam is at the manor. He rushes back into his house and raises the volume of the radio so he can secretly tell Judy that they must rescue Sam. In the lab, Wally watches a kid crawl through a tube and sticks its leg into a hole to release the stolen brain fluid into a machine. This is connected to Mother, who now looks like a withering old lady. On the morning of the anniversary, Blaine notices that Annalise is distracted, so she shows him that her bullet wound isn't healing. She worries that Mother may die soon, but Blaine assures her that Wally will cure her. Meanwhile, Sam wakes up very dizzy and Warden Toby tells him that he's been given Edward's old room. He also learns that they sedated him and he was asleep for 3 days. Sam says the residents. At first they don't believe him, but at that moment Art starts pounding on the door pretending to be crazy. While the employees go after Art, Paz takes over the computer to unlock the back door so Renee and Judy can come in. Meanwhile, Sam takes the cigarettes to the Duchess, who reacts as soon as she starts smoking. The Duchess says she knows Sam because Mother told her all about him. She reveals that Mother appears for everyone in the form of people from their pasts, which explains Sam's visions of Lily. Mother wants to be saved from this hell and uses those visions to ask for help. Sam mentions that the monsters killed Jack, but the Duchess tells him it was an accident and the only way to help everyone is to save Mother too. The Duchess also tells him that the bus stop in the recreation room isn't a decoration and he must be there at 5:15. Meanwhile, Paz tells the women that Sam is in room 157 so they head there, but they find it empty. At that moment Claire appears and the connected to Mother suddenly triggers an alarm. Sam and the Duchess hear Mother screeching, and Sam collapses as he sees her in Lily's form again, suffering from great pain. When it finally stops, Sam is found by Toby, whose eyes are glowing gold. Toby tries to drag Sam away but Renee hits him in the head with a fire extinguisher. She and Judy help Sam walk and ask Paz for directions, but at that moment the building starts going into lockdown. Paz calls Art using the radio and tells him he's trapped, so Art will have to be the driver. Claire hears him mention Sam's name and tells him he's her dad. When Paz tries to break the glass wall, Claire points out that it's shatterproof and grabs a tool to pierce it first. Sam's group manages to leave the building before their door locks down, and Claire and Paz come out at the same time when they break the glass. Art picks them up in a stolen laundry van and they all leave the Burrows. During the trip, Sam announces they must save Mother, not kill her. At that moment Renee gets a call from Wally, who reveals he's kidnapped Mother. Renee tells him to wait for them at the community center and Art turns the van around. In the lab, Annalise slaps Blaine multiple times for failing to protect Mother. He promises to find her, but meanwhile they must keep up appearances to avoid chaos. At the community center, families are visiting their grandparents for the party. Wally steals some clothes to dress Mother up. When a guard stops Wally to ask him some questions, Mother waves at some kids with 2 extra monstrous hands. The kids scream and run away in fear, so Wally quickly takes Mother away. The guard is suspicious and calls Blaine. While the team waits in a dark room, Sam hears Mother's voice in his mind. At that moment Wally brings Mother and the group starts arguing over what to do with her. A furious Wally insists they must use her to cure diseases. By looking into Mother's glowing eyes, Sam communicates with her and learns that she wants to meet her end. Her children have already been preparing the cave she was born in for this moment. Wally refuses to let her go and says he doesn't want to die, so Renee points out that he won't be able to live with the price of torturing an old lady. As he breaks down, Wally accepts she's right. Since all exits have been blocked, their only way into the cave is through the tunnels. The group rushes to the center's kitchen, only to hear Blaine and his people arrive. Judy and Art volunteer to distract them while the others leave. The couple turns on a radio to send them into the wrong room, but unfortunately a man finds them anyway. Blaine tries to interrogate them, but Judy and Art won't say a word. Suddenly Annalise stabs Judy, and Art begs for mercy. They're interrupted by one of Blaine's buddies, who has noticed that the oven has been ripped open. Blaine realizes that Mother is being taken to the cave and Annalise removes the knife from Judy. In the tunnels, Mother hears her children in the basement and Sam translates her noises, saying she wants to rescue them. Renee and Paz agree to free them and take a different tunnel while the others head to the cave. In the basement, Renee and Paz notice they need a key to activate the security panel that controls the cages. Suddenly they hear a voice and are shocked to find a very deformed Hank. He's angry because Blaine is keeping him there until he looks presentable again, so Renee convinces him to help them for revenge. Hank gives them the key and Paz proceeds to open all the cages. Underground, bars slide down to block the way, forcing the group to take a different tunnel. They end up going to Sam's house and Claire tells them that the device works. Sam asks Claire and Wally to help move the TVs because he has a plan. Eventually Blaine and Annalise arrive with their crew and Wally opens the garage door, where all the TVs have been piled up. Sam and Claire turn on the device and the powerful beam immediately starts damaging Blaine and Annalise. Kaylee runs away while the security jumps to help them, but he's instantly disintegrated. This inspires the rest of the crew to run too. Blaine and Annalise hold hands and tell each other I love you before they explode, which causes the same pretty lights from the blood to appear for a second before the TVs blow up too. In Blaine's car, Art asks for help. Wally looks at the wound and concludes there's no time to take Judy to a hospital. Judy and Art share a few words about their life and Art has a breakdown as Judy dies. Suddenly Mother stands up and touches Judy's wound with a glowing hand, which instantly revives her. Afterward Sam takes Mother away in the golf cart. Nobody notices Blaine's body